All right, gentlemen, well, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe you could do a little bit of an introduction of yourselves. Tell us, the sort of the short story of who you are, maybe who you work for, and then I'll get into some questions about, what's neat about this, right? But David, tell us who you work for. Who are you, and who do you work for?
Well, luckily, I'm going towards semi-retirement, so that's part of the deal. But I have been involved with Six Sigma, Lean, Kaizen for about 30 years prior. So I'm well immersed in it. And when my son told me that he was taking this class, I got interested and then he invited me. I said, well, I'm going to come along and see what they're talking about. So that's part of the deal. But I love the stuff. It's I learned a lot over time, and I can just tell you that businesses can benefit from utilizing these processes. It's all about eliminating waste and improving productivity and making more money. So that's the nutshell.
Good. Well, David, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate that 30 years of experience, being able to share a little bit about that back at this point. Wes, how about you? Who are you and who do you work for?
I'm Wes Adams. Max Adams is my son.
Okay.
My wife here is here as well, Jeanette.
Hi.
We own a small business here in North Hollywood. We have about 20 employees.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the opposite of David. You seem to have all those words all lined up perfectly, and you know exactly what everything is. We of course are aware as small business owners of the benefits of efficiency, and I mean we operate a good business.
Yeah.
But it's by the seat of our pants. So there are a lot of things that as a really rather small business, we don't have the resources to throw behind all these certifications and all these process. I mean, we have a lot of very good processes, but we haven't taken it to that level.
Yeah. But you're gonna have a son that sort of knows all about this stuff at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, we run very effectively. Even though it's a little bohemian, we run. So one of the things that we've done recently, just so you understand what a small business really means, is we have developed, my wife and I have developed and patented a printing process, which is very novel. It's actually, it allows us to make emissive paper or emissive printing. And we print, so 3 weeks ago, 2 of our projects opened. One of them is Nintendo's Mario Kart at Universal Studios, and the other is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland. And if you guys ever take a look at the videos, you'll see all the printing that is lit by blacklight, and that's what we produced.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So in this class, we're talking about Lean Six Sigma, and we think of it as and David, you can always sort of check me on this, right? So we think of it as like having 3 parts. What's the value, what's the process, and how are we engaging the people doing the work in problem solving, right? And we teach a particular type of problem solving approach in this class, which is the MAIC process. And you heard a little bit of the students, kind of going through their Lean Six Sigma Green Belt stories. But I want to switch over, David. 30 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your lean journey? Like, how did you first get into it? And what? Yeah. Well, just tell us a little bit about your lean journey.
It was really the company that I was a part of that believed in the process, and they had some lean experts and some Six Sigma experts and background, and then our company just believed in the process and wanted to follow it. So it's as simple as that.
And
I don't know what else to say really on that.
Oh, let's see, so how about, we learn from both our failures and the successes, did we have at all? Or the stuff-
Absolutely.
And over 30 years, it had to kind of go up and down a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, it
So-
definitely improved our, productivity and processes. And, another side benefit, it was just getting all the employees involved and engaged. And you guys said it earlier, I think during the meeting, it's a collaborating, process is getting people working together and thinking together and brainstorming together. And that kind of comes into play as well. I will say this, I'm going to give you I have kind of one-liners, and I really believe this in business and life. And it follows the Six Sigma and Lean process. And that is what gets measured gets done. You have to, and that would talk about the root cause and problem analysis. You got to get that baseline. You got to understand the baseline where you are today to see where you want to go tomorrow. So I really believe that's a number one rule that individuals should learn about, really business and life in general. What gets measured gets done. So, and then just the background, I was in a manufacturing company. So sometimes these processes are geared towards manufacturers more so than service. I'm not going to say service companies can't do it, but manufacturing companies really, really dive into these concepts.
And I want to say, sort of turning the conversation to Wes a little bit. I think one of the things when you talk about that engaging people in problem solving, we teach some formal techniques and tools and really it's a little bit of big company processes. I like to tell people, to do this stuff in a sort of more formal way, you can be like 50, 100, employees or more to make it happen. When you're smaller, West, like you guys, with 20 people, you have an opportunity to really reach out and touch and talk to everybody, almost on a daily basis. So the problem solving and the collaboration happens a little bit more organically or naturally. Did you see that kind of behavior, Wes, in your company, or how does that work?
Yeah, it is so as a small company, yes, of course, we talk to every single individual who's there.
Yeah.
I will say that there's always an emergency, right? In a large company, but in a small company, small problems can become very, very large.
Yes.
We're not actually, and it's not to detract at all from what you're talking about, because frankly, we are actually here to learn. Max, go learn more and come back and help us.
Sure.
But it's really, I'll give you a small example of how everything you're talking about efficiency goes out the window in 2 minutes flat. Last summer, one of our employees left without notice. Now, this is a company that we've owned since 2001. There are employees there who worked from the late 70s who still work, believe it or not. So we really have a real family there. He left without notice. And I have to say, Max, thank you very much. Disney's Minnie and Mickey Runaway Railway opened partly thanks to Max, because he came in and took the place of this individual, literally set up the CNC routers to operate, run, and move. When things like that happen, and by the way, did a great job. When things like that happen, we could have had all the efficiency systems set up left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But things managed to come together.
Yeah.
And we continue from there on a daily basis.
Well, because we have one employee per role.
Yeah, it's one employee per role with backup. I'm ultimately the backup for everything.
Exactly.
So yeah, and that means sweep the floor, clean the toilets, and file taxes. It's everything. Don't ever be afraid to do the lowliest thing, because it is the most important.
And that's a good message, I think, for lean companies, and we talk a lot about, some ideas like cross-training, is sort of very important. It not only helps you with the kind of situation people leaving that you're sort of talking about, but also if you're trained on all the different jobs in the organization, when you're having those conversations, you can maybe empathize and help each other a little bit more if everybody knows.
I want to add,
Go ahead.
I want to add something very important to this conversation.
Yeah.
Your students especially should understand that what you're talking about is real efficiency, and not to confuse real efficiency with not having the right equipment, with not buying the right stuff, with not having enough backup, without having parts, without having extra material, without having extra staff, extra training, extra. Our
Right.
middle name is extra. We have to have multiple of things that
Yeah.
cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so as a company, you have to understand that that's what your goal is your company. It's not trying to save every dime. That's the flip side of being extremely efficient.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's what's it, doing things right or doing the right things, right? And I think the kind of thing, Wes, you've got sort of direct exposure to all the processes and things that are going on in your company. You got sort of good visibility. And we would always want to have our students, we call it, the Japanese word is go to Gemba. I don't know, David, you kind of probably heard that, right? Go to where the work is done, see and understand before you start to prescribe, right? And it sounds like over the years, Wes, you and your company have made some good decisions. You've experienced, what it's like to not have the right piece of equipment or not have the backup. And so you put those things in place. And that, to me, that is efficiency, right? That's doing the right stuff to make your customers happy and to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, gentlemen, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this little panel session. I really appreciate your showing up, supporting your, your students, and also sort of share your experience with the other students in our class here. If you guys had like one piece of advice to give to sort of this next generation of graduating professionals that we're putting out into the world, what would that piece of advice be?
You start, Wes.
Jeanette, help. Come here. Seriously, come here.
Lean on your chance. One piece of advice.
First of all, lean on someone who is absolutely fantastic. Come tell everybody.
Oh, look at this guy.
There you go. You scored some points there, Wes.
Okay, so in all earnestness, the advice that we really have is, it really does start at the very, very beginning, at the very bottom. All of our kids, when they came into GP and worked on anything, they did start sweeping the floor and taking pride of that full trash can. Because if you're not proud of filling a trash can with trash, you're not going to be able to ascend.
You have to understand all the jobs from bottom to top
Yeah.
to be a good leader.
Excellent.
Because everybody counts, every job counts.
Excellent advice.
Yeah.
All right, David, so that should give you some time to think. Now you got your shot.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'll just say this. I mean, all the students at Cal Poly are already successful in terms of getting into that college. I know it's not easy. So I know they're already at the top of the game, but I will say this. In college, and when you get out of college and go get a job, always be prepared. Do your homework, whether it's college homework or business homework. When a presentation or a sales call or whatever you're doing, always be prepared. Never get caught off guard, and always do everything you can to know what's coming. The better prepared you are, the better you will be, and it will do. So preparedness is going to be my word.
Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to contribute and do this. I really appreciate it. So one way we say, thank you to our celebrity interviews, let's go ahead and go out of, can we go, into, gallery mode once again, so we get a shot of all the, students that you've affected.
Put your cameras on, give them a wave of thanks for coming and taking time to speak to us.
There we go.
And parents are totally welcome to stay. You don't have to dip out of class if you want to see what else happens. You're totally down. You're totally welcome to stay.
Yeah, there we go. All right, thank you guys.